What is up, bros and brats? I'm Inkslasher, and today we're continuing the series where we go through, look at every single class of weapons in the game, and decide which one is exactly the best. So far, we've looked at assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, and snipers, and today it was between pistols and LMGs. I got you guys to vote last video, and it was decided that 53% to 47%, yes, the voting was that close, that we are today obviously looking at LMGs, as you can probably tell by the title. But what if we looked at other things inside of Black Ops 3 to see which ones are the best, like specialist weapons, kill streaks, attachments, all of those things? What if we did that like this series? What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And while you're at it, let me know which LMG you think is the best. Let me know down below, right? Whatever one's your favorite, whether it's a BRM, whether it's the Dingo, whether it's the Dredge. Let me know down below, and we'll see by the end of the video if you guys agree with me or not. So guys, this was the hardest class I've had yet to break down and figure out which is the best LMG. Literally way harder than any other class we've seen so far. Why? Because the time to kill, generally speaking, is my go-to stat. Generally speaking, the time to kill on a weapon is going to tell you which one is the best, but that's not the case for LMGs. Why? Well, if we look at a class like assault rifles, all of the weapons' little stats like aim down sights time, reload speed, movement speed, all of these things are exactly the same on every single assault rifle with a few minor changes. Even if you look at magazine size, most of the assault rifles' magazine sizes is 30. There is just not that big of a difference throughout that class. Whereas if we look at the LMGs, all the smaller stats are different from one LMG to another. So in turn, this made it very hard to decide which is the best one because we couldn't just break it down by time to kill. So keep in mind that this was the hardest one for me to do, so your opinion on which LMG is the best may be completely different than mine, and that's why I suggest that you let me know down in the comment section. So the way I think we're going to do this time is start off by looking at all the weapons' time to kill. The 4 LMGs will look at all of their time to kills, and then go through weapon by weapon, eliminating or determining which weapon is the best one by looking at all of the stats. So let's start by looking at the time to kills. Alright, so when looking at this graph, you need to keep a few things in mind. First of all, you can see where their damage drops off for every single LMG. At 125 meters in game, every single LMG in the game, that's where the damage drops off. Literally, it's the only class of weapons in the game that has the exact same range for damage drop off. Why? I have no idea, just the LMGs are weird like that. But we can actually just eliminate that part of the graph. Why? You're almost never going to get into a gunfight over 125 meters in game. So just get rid of that part of the graph, and it makes looking at this much, much easier. So we can see the time to kills for this look like this. So the lowest one is the 48th Dredge at 0.156 seconds. The next up is the Gorgon at 0.183 seconds. The next is the BRM at 0.232 seconds. And finally, the Dingo at 0.249, so almost a quarter of a second. So you can see there's some discrepancies in what people say. Like, you'll talk to a lot of people and they'll instantly say the Dingo is the best weapon, but look at it. It has the slowest time to kill. But we're going to talk about that later. I want to start off by looking at the Gorgon, because as you can see, it has the second lowest time to kill, but almost everyone on the internet says it's a piece of shit because of how slow it fires. So let's start by looking at the Gorgon. So when Black Ops 3 first came out, I said the Gorgon was the best gun in the game, and I still stand by that. When the game came out, I really did think that was the best gun in the game. Why? Because it had always to be a 2-bullet kill, which is just amazing, and on top of that, it had the exact same stats as all the other LMGs. It had the same aim down sights time, it had the same hip spread, but now that's just not the case. So the fire rate of this weapon is 327, which, let's be honest, is absolutely abysmal. It's an incredibly slow fire rate, but it was always a 2-bullet kill. However, now they have nerfed it to a point where those stats that I just talked about are pretty much pointless. If we look at this weapon, it has a 40-round magazine, which is by far the lowest out of all the LMGs. In fact, is half of that of the Dingos. On top of that, we can look at some other stats, one of which is incredibly important, is aim down sights time. The aim down sights time for the Gorgon is 0.55 seconds, so over half a second to aim down sights with this thing, whereas all the other LMGs you're looking at basically a third of a second. So a massive difference there. When you aim down sights with the Gorgon, it feels like you're trying to aim with a fucking train. Like, it feels like you're trying to pick up one of the heaviest objects in the world and try to aim with it. It makes no sense. On top of that, the hip spread for the Gorgon is now massive, at 8 inches at a minimum and 12 inches at a maximum, almost the same size as the sniper rifle's hip spread. So there's no point in hip firing with this. On top of it, it takes forever to aim down sights with it, making this gun almost pointless to use because there's no situation where either of those stats is going to be good for you. So the only good thing on this weapon, it's always a 2-bullet kill. Other than that, all the other stats are really a piece of crap. but we're going to have to eliminate that one. It's still a good weapon, and in fact, all the LMGs in this game actually are pretty damn good. I'm really surprised more people don't use them, but in my opinion, the Gorgon's eliminated, so let's move on. So the next gun I want to look at is the BRM. Why? Because I feel like the BRM is like your most stereotypical LMG out there. Heavy weapon, it just feels like I've used this weapon before. In fact, it really reminds me of a weapon like the RPD from previous Call of Duty games. Why? Well, it has a middle-of-the-road damage profile with a middle-of-the-road fire rate. It's just a completely average weapon. In fact, when comparing this weapon, you may notice it has the exact same time to kill, exact same damage, and exact same fire rate as the Man of War. It's literally the exact same. Is a 40 to 30 damage, however, almost all the time you're going to be at that 40 damage profile, and a 517 RPM. And you may be thinking, okay, why don't people just use this instead of the Man of War? Well, the other stats with it are worse. In fact, like the reload speed, aim down sights time, all of that stuff is much slower on the BRM than the Man of War, and that's why they are balanced, as you could say. So what it comes down to with the BRM is the fact that it's just average. There is really nothing else to it. It's not the best, it's not the worst. In fact, when looking at all the smaller stats, it's exactly that. If we look at magazine size, it's 75. Not the best, not the worst. If we look at the aim down sights time, the aim down sights time is 0.35 seconds. Not the worst like the Gorgon at 0.55 seconds, and not the best at 0.333 seconds like the Dingo. Same goes with the reload speed. In fact, it's literally right in the middle of the road with the reload speed. So as you can tell here, this gun is just your average LMG, and you can't get to be the best LMG by being the most average LMG. And for that reason, it's now eliminated and we're left with two. So this has got to be the most interesting episode we've done of this yet, because the two weapons we're left with is the one with the fastest time to kill and the one with the slowest time to kill. In fact, there's almost 0.1 seconds separating the two, which to me is just absolutely amazing. Now, you may be questioning me saying, why have I left the Dingo, which has the worst time to kill, for the end? And it's simple. All its other stats are the best in class. In fact, if we look at all of the other stats, like for example, if we look at magazine size, the magazine size on the Dingo is the best at 80. The Dredge has 60. If we go ahead and look at reload speed, it has the best reload speed at 6.75 seconds with an empty and full magazine, and the Dredge has one at 7.3 seconds with an empty or full magazine. This just going down the list, it continues. The Dingo has the best aim down sights time at 0.333, and the Dredge has a 0.35 aim down sights time. And finally, the hip spread. The hip spread is by far the best on the Dingo at 4 inches at a minimum, 6 at a maximum, whereas the Dredge has 5 inches at a minimum and 8.5 at a maximum. So there is a massive, massive difference in all of those smaller stats. In fact, if you ask me, the Dingo is the best LMG. That is my personal opinion, and I very strongly believe that. And for me, when I saw that the Dredge had such a better time to kill, I needed to figure out why I'm always doing better with the Dingo. I needed to do the research, and I needed to figure out why. And I have found a reason. So the thing is, with the Dredge, the thing that makes it really good is that it's a 6-round burst. The fact that this burst fires so fast, and they can balance that out with a burst delay. And that 6-round burst, the thing that makes it great, is, in my opinion, also the thing that makes it bad, and let me explain this. So when understanding burst fire weapons, you got to look at two things. First of all, the fire rate of the burst itself, and secondly, the amount of burst delay, the time in between bursts. With the Dredge, both are actually pretty good, with the fire rate of the bullets being 1000 RPM, which is super fast, and the burst delay being the exact same as the M8A7 at 166 milliseconds. So why am I saying that this is the problem? It's because it's a 6-round burst. So if you miss the first 6 bullets, or let's say you hit 2 but miss 4, you not only have to wait for the burst delay, but you have to wait for the burst itself to finish. And if you've ever used the Dredge, it does take a while for that burst itself to finish. And to me, this gives it this really inconsistent feel, and really that's the only way I can explain it. Sometimes I'm getting these super fast burst kills with the Dredge, but if my target, let's say, is moving very fast left to right, or strafing, or doing something like that, I have this trouble where it seems like all of a sudden the Dredge is super inconsistent, and it's because I have to wait for those 6 bullets to finish firing, then I have to wait for the burst delay, and then I have to fire another burst. and if I missed any of those first 6 bullets out of the burst, I am then waiting that much time to fire my next bullets, and it makes it have this inconsistent feel. And to me, that problem is enough to say that the Dredge is not the best weapon. However, if you are a player that is getting all 6 of those bullets on target every single time you're using the Dredge, and trust me, there is players, like look at pros, look at the best pub stompers you know out there, there's people who can do it, but I would say for the mass majority of people, this is why the Dingo's better. It's more consistent, and all of the smaller stats are much better than every other weapon in class. And to me, that's enough to say that the Dingo is the best LMG in the game. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Is the Dredge your favorite? Is the Dingo? Or is one of the other 2 your favorite? Let me know down below, and let me know what you want to see next out of this series. Obviously, we're going to have to do pistols, but let me know what you think for the rest of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you enjoyed, it would be fantastic if you could leave a like rating. I really do appreciate it. It really helps the channel grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I upload new Call of Duty videos every single day of the week, and if that's something you'd enjoy, that red button down below is sitting there with your name on it. Actually, it doesn't have your name on it. It has subscribe written on it, but we can pretend that subscribe's your name if that's what you want. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out.